Hey all, welcome back to one more video today. So in today's video we are going to talk about data encapsulation. Okay, so before going into this, what is data encapsulation and all? So we all know that in OOPS, it is having four important properties. One is inheritance, abstraction, polymorphism, and then encapsulation. So, any code that you are writing in System Verilog, any TB code you are writing is all based on these four properties itself. So, these four properties play a very important role while you are learning a System Verilog course. Among this is encapsulation, data encapsulation. So we have already talked about inheritance, polymorphism, and abstraction. If you didn't see those videos, I link all that in the description boxes. Based on your availability and based on your interest, you could check those videos. Okay, and then coming to the last property among the OOPS, which is data encapsulation. So before going into what is this encapsulation and why do we need encapsulation, okay, I'll just give you a small idea on what are actually this encapsulation is used for. Okay, so basically when you talk about capsules, okay, what does the capsule consist of? It consists of the medicine which is hidden inside some protection layer, is it or not? So when you take the capsule, the medicine is inside the capsule and the capsule is covering the medicine inside it, is it or not? So similarly, in encapsulation we are hiding something. So what are we hiding something and why do we actually hide this particular thing? Okay, so that is the thing that we are going to talk about today in encapsulation. Basically we will call the encapsulation as a hiding property or hiding technique. Okay, so now coming to what is this encapsulation and why do we need it? Basically, according to class properties, like in inheritance, by using properties of classes like inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, and etc., you know that all members or properties inside the class can be accessed with its class handles of the child classes. Is it or not? So basically, by using the child class, you can access all the members or properties of the class, parent class. Okay, but there may be some cases where you don't want to change the values in the parent class variables. That means you have taken some 3 or 4 variables within your parent class and you don't want any of the child class members to touch those properties. So what can you do? Is it or not? Is there any way to make it untouchable? Yes, there is a way. Okay, we can do that. So, in order to avoid these changes by any other class members, or in order to restrict the access, that means only some persons, only some classes, some classes can handle the properties of this parent class. That means we are creating some restrictions. So, in order to restrict the access of the class members, what we are doing, we are initiating the class access qualifiers. Okay, so this access qualifiers is nothing but we are placing a keyword called local or protected before the particular method or before the particular property of the class, so that that property will become untouchable. That means we can't access that property easily. There are some restrictions in order to access that property. Okay, so this is called encapsulation. Encapsulation means we are putting the restrictions by using certain keywords like local, protected, in order to protect our data, like in order to make it untouchable, like in order to avoid the changes for it. Okay, we are keeping it as a restricted property. We can do that by using the keyword called local protected. Okay, hope you got on what is this encapsulation. Okay, encapsulation or hiding. Hiding, why we call it as hiding? Because we are making it a thing that cannot be touched by everyone. That means we are hiding something in it and we don't want to change it. Okay, got my point? That is why we call it as data hiding. So now coming to the keywords of this particular data encapsulation, which are local and protected. Now coming to what is local keyword and what is protected keyword, what is the difference between local and protected keyword. Okay, when in any property, like for example you are taking as int some id. Okay, before this int id, if you are placing a local, this is my int id is a property, before this property if I am keeping it as local, then that means you can access this particular id variable only inside your class. Okay, in which class you are creating this local keyword, okay, only in that class you can access this particular id keyword. Okay, sorry, id variable, you can't access this outside this particular class. That means, for example, if you are writing after end class, okay, you can access only this id keyword within this class and end class. You can't access this outside this end class. So what happens now, you have made the restriction. That means if any changes you want to do it, you should do it only in the parent class or that particular class. Okay, outside the class you can't make any changes. That means I have restricted the usage or changes on this particular id. So that is about local id. Okay, local keyword. Now coming to same thing for protected keyword. If you are using the protected keyword, what is happening means, okay, along with the class, okay, the pair along, for example, if you are taking inheritance and if you are using both inheritance and encapsulation property, then according to inheritance all the properties of parent class should be accessed, can be accessed by the child class, is it or not? Now when you are using the protected keyword, now if you are using a local keyword, the child class also can't access this particular id. Okay, but if you are using a protected keyword, then the child class can access the properties. Apart from the parent and child class, no other thing can access the particular variable. Okay, when you are using a protected keyword. Got my point? Have you got the difference between local and protected? Local means from, okay, let me give you a small it's just a hint for you in order to know what is how to differentiate between local and protected. Local means within that. Okay, so basically whom we will be calling locals, persons or someone who are staying in that particular area, you will be calling them as locals. Similarly, when you are creating the id as local, then you can access only within that particular class. Now coming to protected, it is somewhat opposite to that class, we can say. That means if you understand what is local, then according to protected you can access that within the child class, but outside the child class you can't access the keyword if you are using protected. Okay, got my point? So that is the data encapsulation or data hiding. Right, now let's see some examples. This is my basic code. Okay, if you see here, I didn't use any keywords here as for now. Okay, just see the only, don't check out this commented part, I'll explain that also, but as for now just see the normal thing here. Here if this is the class, it is having two properties which are data and id. Okay, now I am writing the function, okay, one method. So my class is having two properties and one method which is display. So among this I am writing data and id. Again, within the module I am taking my transaction handle tr. With that handle I am assigning data and id values as 101. Now if I run this particular code, what will be the output? Since I called display function, so the output will be data and id are 101. Okay, if you see here, yes, see, my data and id are 101. Everything is simple, just a basic class code. Okay, now for this thing, if I am using the local keyword, okay, now what can you think the output will be? Okay, let us see the output when I'm using the local, when I'm giving the keyword id local. So if you see here, what is it? Failure, one error. So what is the error? If you see the error here, it is telling clearly that cannot access local or protected member with tr.id. Okay, that means what is happening here? I am taking it as local ID. So this my particular ID can be accessed only within this class and n class. Only within the highlighted area I can access my ID variable. But what am I doing here? Outside the variable, I am accessing the value as trid equal to 1. So that is why what it is saying, it is saying that your particular id can't be accessed outside the class because it is outside the class. Okay, within the class if I access it, it is fine. If I am accessing outside the class, it is throwing you the error that that particular thing is protected by using the local keyword, so you can't access it outside the class. Okay, now in order to access this, what can I do? Okay, in order to access that particular thing, what I will be doing here, instead of writing it here, okay, instead of accessing the values here, what I will do, I will write a function. Okay, within this function, what I am doing here, within the I am writing the constructor function within the class. Within the constructor function, I think you know about this constructor function. I have explained clearly about what is the constructor function. Constructor function is very important when you are writing the Verilog test bench codes. Okay, so in every part of your Verilog test bench code, you will see about this constructor program, constructor thing, and about the this keyword. So I link that too also in the description box. You can go there and check it out. Okay, so I'm writing the constructor new function within which I'm writing assigning the values as data and id are 1. Now if I particularly run this code, what happens? Your output will be, see here, the data is 1 and id, because you didn't get any disturbance here. Why? Because you are not accessing the id outside the class, you are accessing it inside the class, so that is why it didn't give you any error. Clear? So this is how you will be using the local keyword for properties. For example, as I told you, you can in this way you can protect all your class properties and methods. So in class, you know that you, along with properties, you will also have methods. Okay, so if you want that particular method also to become untouched, you can do it. Okay, you can do it by using the local function, local keyword before the function. Okay, okay, now if you see here, I am using the local keyword before my function, and now if I run this particular code, what happens? What happens? Okay, before checking the output, ping me the output in the comment box so that I can understand whether you are understanding or not. See, the output is again failure. Now what is the error? Unexpected token function. Why? Because if you see here, you are making this function as local. That means you are protecting this function. Now you can't access this function outside the class, but what you are doing, you are accessing this function outside the class, so it is throwing you the error. Now how can you access them? Okay, instead of writing it there, I can create the function within my constructor function itself. Now what happens? If you see here, if you run the code, what will be the output? The output will be just 101. Okay, got my point? So this is how. For example, okay, so now you may get out that I am just creating the new function here. I'm just creating the handle, and how are these values? Now since you are creating the function here new, then as soon as you are calling the new function, it is going to the constructor function, and within the constructor function you will be having data as 100 and id as 1 and display. So as soon as it sees this display, it enter into this particular display and it will be printing the display here. Okay, got my point? This is how you will be protecting your properties and your functions within that particular by using the local keyword. Got my point? This is how you will be using the local keyword. If you, after seeing this, if you are having still any doubts, you can ping me in the comment box. I will definitely give you a reply. Okay. Now we have seen the we have seen the local keyword. Now let us go for protected keyword here. Now for the same thing, okay, as I told you, what is the difference between local and protected? If you are using as local keyword, you can't access it by any type of class. Like you can't access it with even child class. Okay, but if you are using the protected keyword, you can access it with child classes. Only child classes can inherit that particular keyword, that particular properties which you are using as protected keyword. But outside the child class, you don't have access. That is, the restriction is somewhat limited by using the protected keyword. Now let us see how we are going to deal with this protected keyword. Now for the same program here, okay, I have done everything here. If you see, the program is everything same, but along with my parent class, I have also taken the inherited class, which is the child class. Okay, so within my parent class I am having two properties, data and id, and within my child class I am having addr. Okay, now within the child class, what I am doing, I am writing a task, okay, within which I am creating the logic address, and then also I am calling the display which is in my parent class. Okay, and then within the module I am just accessing everything. Now if you see this particular thing, for example, if you see here, I am just using the display as protected in nature. Okay, so now if I run this particular thing, okay, what will be the output? See, the output is data is 101 and address is 100. Why is it? Because I have assigned the data and id as 101, and then I am writing address as data into id, which is 100 into 1, which is address is 100 itself. Okay, and then I am just writing the display as address. Now I am calling everything with my particular tr dot new. For example, if I am using this instead of protected, if I am using it as local, okay, now what happens? Even though I am using the child class also, this doesn't allows you. See, cannot access the local or protected member from the scope. Why? Because even though I am calling it from child class also, if you are using local, it won't allow you. Only you should use the protected keyword in order to access by using child class members. Okay, for example, even this is the protected, and within the protected also, if you are not writing the display here, if you are not calling the display from the child class, but you are calling the display from the module, okay, that means outside the class, then also it will show you an error, like if you see here, cannot access local or protected class members. So have you got it? Like what is there in encapsulation? In encapsulation you can only handle the classes properties or methods by using only child class when you are giving a protected keyword. If you are using local keyword, then no other class can handle the properties and methods of the classes except that particular class in which you are writing that code. Got my point? So this is about the child class, and this is about the encapsulation in oops concept. Okay, hope you got an idea on what is encapsulation, what is local and protected keyword, because local and protected keyword is very important when you go to the real time verification domain. Like when you see the real time codes, you will see many of these local and protected keywords there, because as I told you, there may be some cases where you want your particular data to be untouched, or you don't want it to be changed by any other child classes or any other handles. So which is why, okay, we are creating the restriction for this, because as you all know, with the oops properties like inheritance, okay, and abstraction, we can handle anything easily. We can handle every parent class properties by any child class handle. So in order to make that easy thing, in order to make that flexibility somewhat restricted, we have come to this encapsulation technique, in which we have restricted the usage of this handles, usage of these properties and methods by using some restrictions here. Okay, hope you got an idea on what is local and protected keyword. If you are still having any doubt, you can ping me in the comment box. Also, if you like this video, please do give me a like, and also share this to all the VLSI aspirants who are also interested to join in design and verification domain within VLSI. Okay, and if you are new to this video, consider subscribing this video and hit on the notification bell also. Thank you all.